Hey everybody, welcome to Dad Talk. Today we are in Dallas, Texas at the Young Women's Leadership Conference for Turning Point, and I'm sitting here with George P. Bush. George, how you doing?
Not too bad. Great to be with you.
Yeah, so you are going to be running for Attorney General. Yeah, tell us why you're wanting to get into that job.
Well, I think Texas deserves better leadership in this role. It's the chief prosecutor that deals with everything from federal, state, county, and local laws. We need somebody that can bring in operational experience, which I have at the land office. But more importantly, we need to secure the border, back the thin blue line in Texas, take on human traffickers and restore accountability, make government more efficient. And so I'm just talking about those issues, traveling the state. Great to be here with so many conservative women from around the country supporting President Trump and his policies here in Texas.
Absolutely, man. So, George, we talk a lot about the breakdown of the nuclear family, which I feel is one of the number one issues in society going on right now. In that role, if you could get that role, what are some things that you think you could do to kind of help with that? It seems like the family is attacked every way you turn. The fatherlessness is an epidemic. We're at about 80% in the African American households, and just fatherlessness in general in the United States. 1 out of every 3 kids are without a father. Is there any type of legislation or any type of things you think you could get involved in that could probably provide some solutions for that?
Well, I think it's all about moral leadership on this. Yes, the Attorney General collects alimony payments in Texas. In fact, 2/3 of this agency of about 4,200 full-time employees are devoted to that. I think technology can help in that effort, but more importantly, we need leadership that speaks to the crisis that we're seeing in the American household right now. You touch also on the high rate of crime that we see. Any foster care community that I visit, any juvenile detention center that I visit here in Texas, usually come from a broken home. And the stats speak to that. So we just need to, as fathers, lead by example. That's what I try to do with my beautiful wife and our kids. And again, not claiming to be perfect by any means,
Right.
but recognizing that as fathers, we all have a responsibility in all communities to
Right.
be there for our children, to raise them, to teach them the right things, and to have more Christ-centered leadership in government. So as a lawyer, as the state's most important lawyer for the most important law firm, I'd be fighting for the First Amendment religious liberty expression that we all have to live out our faith in the public square, which is now under attack with the policies of Washington, D.C.
Yes, sir, and I agree with you 100%. We as fathers, that's our duty to guide our children, and it seems like that role is attacked every day. The family is attacked. Why do you think they have such a target on the families right now?
That's I don't have an answer to it, but I think it's their philosophy. Their philosophy is that the creation of another government program, or increasing the size of government, or raising your taxes, or now we're seeing, I think it's in excess of $10 trillion in new spending this upcoming year, that's somehow going to solve the problem, when a lot of our society's ills can be solved at the home.
Right.
When you have a solid family structure, we can deal with everything from drug addiction to homelessness to human trafficking, which I talked about a little bit earlier, and be a force multiplier at the community level rather than having more government programs. We know that government dependency has created more homelessness and more dependency on government. And so, and Texas has led by having a limited government, free market approach. Sure, there should be a safety net for people, but at the end of the day, it's about communities, it's about family, it's about faith that makes us a high-performing state.
Well, speaking of family, nobody is a stranger to your family. We all know there's a long line of politics that come out of the Bush family. What inspired you to get into politics?
Well, it was a little unique in that I was in the military and I came back from my deployment in 2010 and was in the business world, but looking to do something different. Just as I had done in the past, working in the federal judiciary, working on guns and drugs and constitutional law issues, that I needed to turn a page for my military career.
Yep.
And in 2014, it looked like there was an opportunity to serve our military vets. And so, since the land office predominantly works with military veterans here in Texas, I felt like that's how I could best serve Texas.
Right.
And it's been an amazing journey. In 6 years, we've done everything from responding to the largest natural disaster in the state's history with Hurricane Harvey to now leading and championing the Alamo renovation project, which has been an awesome deal down in San Antonio. But the next step now is to be a lead prosecutor for the state, because our values are under attack.
Oh, yeah.
And our state's economy is as well. And I bring that background from the oil and gas management of the state's minerals at the land office. So So we're going to be talking about these important issues for Texans.
Hey, speaking about that with your military background, one thing we talk a lot about family court, and I know you're an attorney as well. We see a big common occurrence inside of family court. We got our guys going and fighting overseas. They come back home, their family's completely torn apart. One thing that's always used against them, PTSD. Seems like PTSD is such a big subject, and it's like we can go over here and fight for our country, but we come home and we don't have our families. Is there any type of spotlight or any type of things that we could do? Does that really hurts me to know our veterans are fighting so hard, and it seems like that is always used against them.
Yeah, it's a struggle. I mean, the highest rate of suicide right now in any community in America is in the veteran community, with 22 a day, mostly in the veteran community. I believe it has a lot to do with civilian transition. We got to do a better job as a country handing, not a handout, but just an opportunity, whether it's a job, to get ahead, because that's going to deal with a lot of the family issues, domestic violence that we see in the military veteran community, and substance abuse. And you touch on the biggest stigma of all, and that's PTS. A lot of employers are fearful of hiring military vets because they view us as broken and beaten down. But the reality is the military training is unlike any training you will ever get in the public or the private sector. And so as a champion for veterans' rights in Texas, I've been talking about that, making sure that Fortune 500 companies and small businesses follow through with their commitments to hire our military veterans. As the lead prosecutor for the state, I will work with local DAs to create more veterans courts. We have veterans courts in Texas, in Dallas County, Travis County, and a few others, the large super counties, that go to first-time offenders, so military vets that are caught, say, a DUI or with substance abuse. Instead of throwing them to jail and throwing away the key, why not look at a recovery program, a rehabilitation program? And this brings criminal defense attorneys with local prosecutors to find solutions for the vet through the numerous resources that are available there. And so I've partnered with the Army Futures Command in Travis County, General Murray, 4-star general, to address the homeless situation, triaging the military vets that are within that community, and then helping them, whether it's a legal issue, a job employment issue, or temporary housing, so that we can help our battle buddies get back on their feet.
Absolutely, George. I love it, man. It was such an honor to meet you. Tell everybody where they can keep up with you.
Well, encourage you all to check out my website at georgepfortexas.com, where you can learn more about my vision, my track record as land commissioner, my ideas for the Attorney General's position. In the meantime, I hope to be visiting with you all soon and talking about the future of our great state.
All right, George. Such a
Absolutely,
pleasure,
brother.
my man.
You got it.
Everybody stick around. We'll be right back.